kila wiki ya Mwanaume ni tunaangazia maisha ya Kennedy Ngumo akiwa mzaliwa wa kaunti ya Nyandarua katika familia ya watoto 5. Kennedy anajuta kuchukua mwelekeo usio na mantiki katika harakati za kujaribu kusuluhisha jambo lililomtatiza maishani mwake. Kennedy alipoteza mengi katika ulevi na sasa anajaribu iwezekanavyo kurekebisha na kurudisha yale aliyapoteza. Hata hivyo, Ngumo anajuta uamuzi wake uliochangia kuzorota kwa maisha yake.
Najua nimekosea sana, ndio nilikuwa nakupigia. Najua umejam na mimi sitaki kuwa na stress tena toka next year ya hao ama ya mtoi. Nimekata.
Bidii yake katika kujaribu kurekebisha uhusiano kati yake na mke wake, lakini wapi, juhudi zinapiga mwamba. Eneo la Inako, kaunti ya Nairobi. Wakazi hapo wakizidi kubingirisha gurudumu la maisha. Shughuli za hapa kule zikiendelea kwa minajili ya kutafuta chakula cha kila siku. Jua la utosi nalo likihangaisha shughuli za wanabiashara. Jicho la kamera yetu nalo linamulika Kennedy Ngumo. Mwanaume huyu wa miaka 35 anajivunia kazi yake mpya ya kuuza viatu hivi vya mitumba. Hata hivyo, maisha ya Ngumo hayakuanza hivi.
Right after I graduated, I went to Dubai for about a year or so. I worked there for a retail group called RGG, the Retail Gulf Group. I wasn't able to get my working documents in order in time, so at some point I had to come back. I got a job at a law firm, Kabiru Ndege and Company Advocates. They used to be somewhere on the Kaunda Street. Worked there as a conveyance guy, trying to pass up things at the lands office, title deeds and such. I was basically alone doing tons of work for the company, and I couldn't handle it. I tried raising the issue, but basically it just came up as a complaint or as an unnecessary value that did not need to be addressed.
Haya yakikomesha tamaa ya Ngumo kutaka kufanya kazi katika taasisi yoyote. Hakufahamu kuwa shinikizo lililomkumba kazini lingemsababisha kuafikia uamuzi ambao ungegeuza maisha yake. Mwandani wake alimtambulisha kwa maisha ya nasa na ulevi sihaba. Pombe nayo ikasababisha maisha yake kuzorota.
I thought and I said, well, I don't think I need to work you at all. I can continue being in this petty lifestyle. Working for people who did not appreciate me. That was when I chose to take the risk and go it alone. Say I would struggle to the end. At that point, alcohol was a very good comfort. I was a party freak. It used to make sure I drink and cool down. So to speak, I thought alcohol was the only thing that made me feel worth some respect within the circles that I was working with, or within the circles that I found myself during the weekends. So that's when I started the habit. Immediately I resigned, because that day when I resigned I was totally broke. I had about 1,000 bob in my pocket. I drank that day a few beers, and then because of the stress and the realization the next morning that I didn't have a job, nowhere else to do, I didn't have a plan. I went that morning, we had an argument, and then I went back to my side of the office. I actually wrote it in handprint. Wrote the letter and then I took it to the office. Then I walked out.
By then, did you maybe have a backup plan of something that you would do, or you just resigned out of anger?
It was one of the biggest decisions I regret, actually, though it's too late to mend it. I didn't have a backup plan. It was I just snapped. Somewhere in between, and immediately I left my boss's office. I went to mine, took a biro, and wrote something. The next thing I knew, I was walking down the lift.
Miaka 12 katika ulevi, bidii katika biashara ikadidimia, na pesa ikawa nadra kuonekana.
I used to have a family. I broke up with my wife a few years ago because of the same alcohol thing. When I left the law firm, I started doing small businesses around. Nikaanza kuuza mtumba, that ngara. I started going around towns, selling those bills of clothes. Eventually I settled in Nakuru and got a job there, working for this phone company. They started out with techno. And at that time I met a really good lady, and we settled down. We had a kid, and things were going just fine. Things were going actually very fine. I thought that was the place I was supposed to settle down because I had a job, my wife had a job. Everything was fine, and I could afford a lifestyle. However, a habit is always a disease. So immediately I got back to the comfort level. I started drinking again in excess, in excessive. And she couldn't take it anymore.
Baadaye, Ngumo alibahatika kukutana na Solomon ambaye aligeuza maisha yake baada ya kupitia hali kama yake.
It's been about 5 months now since I stopped drinking alcohol, and I can see the change. I can even feel the change because I think I stayed too much when my mind was loaded without thinking straight. That I finally started appreciating a clear thought. Right now when I sit and I think about something, I can see the clarity in it. I can even feel it. I have a kid. That's the part that pains me most. I have tried calling them severally. I tried even going to look for them at the place they used to work, but they got transferred to another station. Clearly, I knew she was avoiding me, and I couldn't blame her because I pushed her to the end.
Aking'oa nanga katika safari ya kuacha ulevi na anasa, Ngumo sasa anajivunia biashara hii ya uuzaji wa viatu, huku akiendeleza shughuli hizi miongoni mwa zingine pamoja na kundi la vijana ili kuwasaidia kujitenga na vitendo ambazo zitawasababisha wao kupoteza maisha yao.
I'm not really a very busy trader, but it puts food in the mouth and keeps me something to save for the house, sometimes to send to my dependents somewhere. And basically that's what I do. I sell shoes. I do some big work. I'm an artist. We make poetry. We do some music. All for a coin. All for a coin.
Maisha sasa yamempa Ngumo mwelekeo tofauti. Anajivunia kuwalea vijana wengine.
Alcohol is fun, but let it be treated as such. Let not be a habit. The moment it becomes a habit, it becomes a part of you. And when you infect that part of you, you end up being something very different.